All right, hey friends, this is Jeff. We're doing Mistyping again, this time with Drea in Alabama. Drea, welcome.
Hi, glad to be here.
I'm so thrilled you made time. Drea and I just met, and so I'm going to find out all sorts of things about her, except for the fact that I already know that she is as big a football fan as I am. So, how long have you lived in Alabama?
So all my life, I was born here, so I've been here 37 years.
So, what keeps you busy?
Oh, besides my 5-year-old, work,
That's all you needed to say. That's a 5-year-old is plenty.
yes,
Takes up your whole life.
keeps me on the toes, doesn't let up at all. But outside of that, work, being a caregiver for my mom, as well as being a wife. And I just recently graduated, so I'm no longer a student, which is amazing. So,
Congratulations.
yep. And just being all the other things, a sister, a friend, a community person. So just involved in everything. I feel like I'd be doing too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your 5-year-old's name?
Porter.
Porter. That's a great name.
Thank you. That's my dad's middle name. So,
Nice. Nice. And you're a caregiver for your mom?
yeah.
But that's not professionally or full time. That's just is she living with you?
Yeah, she's living with me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So not professionally, just
Yeah.
moved her in.
Thank-
Yeah.
Excellent. What's her name?
Wateria.
Lateria. Perfect. And did you say you were married? Did I miss that?
Yes, I am married. It will be 5 years on Tuesday. Woo woo.
Really?
Yeah.
Congratulations. You got all sorts of things to celebrate.
Yes, yes.
What's your partner's name?
Jarrell.
Drill.
Yeah.
Drea and Drill.
Yep.
That just rolls off the tongue.
Oh yeah. Keep it going.
One of the things I've been thinking about recently with doing typing is something that I always get to at the end and I should start with. And it's mostly just asking you about the things that you think you're really gifted in, or what do most people who are around you think that you're skilled at, or what would they say are your gifts?
Ooh, I would say gifts as, I guess, like more like tangible or just like,
Yeah, what do you bring to your relationships? What do other people, where are you kind of the go-to person, or where do you really connect with people most?
okay. I think they would think I'm like the go-to person. I guess more so of like fun. If they say like, let's go to this concert, I'm like, okay, let's do it. Like when and
Mhm.
where type of person. I try to be a good listener. I like to be present. I think just being there for them in their corner, that type of person. Gifts as creating safe space. So like curating spaces for my friends to be themselves. Also just I guess it's being authentic, allowing them to be themselves. I think is a gift.
Yeah, that is a gift.
Yes. Um,
Thing. What are some of your favorite things that you do with Porter?
so we play golf. He likes to golf.
Nice.
We're hitting the ball, running and playing tag.
Yeah.
And he's learning to ride his bike. So we're kind of doing that right now. But I think
Uh-huh.
my favorite thing is helping him like with riding. So I think he likes to do like the golfing and stuff with my husband, but it comes from me for more of like the nurturing type of thing. So
Sure.
I enjoy that part of it.
So, how much time do you spend with your mom in a
Oh,
day?
a lot. So well, when you think about it, I guess it's not really a lot. It's probably maybe I work 8 hours. So then after that,
Right.
we're probably together for the rest of the day. So
Right.
probably like maybe like 16 hours. So
So is it a lot of the three of you doing stuff together?
yeah, one of the four of us. So my husband, he's a firefighter.
That's right.
So when he
Uh-huh.
is not working, at the fire station. He's home. We typically do stuff together. When he is off, it'll just be us three doing stuff. My sister come over and my niece, and we'll try to do different things. Just try to get out the house, change the scenery type of thing.
Nice. Nice. What did you get your degree in?
So my undergrad degree, my bachelor's was in chemistry with a minor in mathematics, and I just finished my master's in environmental management.
Nice.
Thing.
Nice. Did you say that you found a job doing work with environmental management then?
Not yet. I'm working on it. I'm working on getting my PMP certification now, but
Uh-huh.
I do work in the environmental field right now as a air compliance specialist.
Perfect. Excellent. What drew you most to chemistry? Let's start there.
Well, I originally was a biology major, and
Uh-huh.
I took we had a zoology class in the lab, and I was just like, oh my God, this is like so boring. I don't want to do this. I don't care. It just was not what I envisioned, like science, like biology to be. I was just like, I don't want to do this. And I think the introduction to chemistry class was part of the core requirement. And I took it and I was like, hey, I kind of like this. And then the idea of mixing things together and blowing stuff up and just like analyzing, I was just like, okay, I can do this. So I'll talk to the professor, and I ended up switching my major that day. So yeah,
Bang. Have you always been good at math as well?
good at it. I don't know if I'm good at it, but I do understand the methods a lot, like to where I can apply it. But I don't necessarily know if I'm good at it. I guess just I understand the concepts of it.
Yeah,
That gets better.
that's fair. So, in jumping from chemistry to environmental management, what was the draw?
So I originally with chemistry, I wanted to go to pharmacy school, did an internship, realized that I was going to be very rich, but I was not going to enjoy my job. I was not going to enjoy what I did. And I was just like, oh, you can tough it out. And I was like, oh, not really. So um, I was working in a lab, and then from the lab I got a job with an energy company, and I was just like, why do they need a chemist? And it's because of how they produce the energy utilizing turbines, and turning the turbine blades, they use steam, and so the steam has to be pure, so they need a chemist to help purify the water. And so
Yeah,
that's how I got started, and just looking into the environmental scope of different things, how you have to comply with the different regulations that may be in that particular state, as well as the federal regulations, and how in some areas that them it's not a priority of the health of the people in those communities. And it was
sure.
just like, okay, I love environment. I love the chemistry. In my role, I'm able to add value to where I can help my company be more reliable, make money, produce revenue, but also have input to where we're not just putting out these filthy emissions where they are impacting different communities or different people. We're just looking at it as a way to where I can make a difference, but also doing something that I love and very knowledgeable about, to where I can speak on it confidently and not be like, oh, okay.
Do you find that you have a lot of goals or future thinking about your career? Do you find yourself thinking about the future very much?
I don't know, like necessarily. I'm going to say no. I think once I finished my master's, my family was like, what's next? Like, would this secure you a job? And I was like, I just want to be done right now. Not really kind of think about that far in the future, but I do hope for it at some point. to be able to put me in rooms and spaces that I couldn't get in before now, but with the
Hmm.
degree would add a different dynamic and asset to myself. So I thought about it, but it's not like, okay, I got this now, let me add this, let me do this. It's not that type of thing.
Yeah. It sounds like, aside from, well, it sounds like you're an extremely thoughtful person on one front, and it sounds like you have a lot of great relationships on the other front. In terms of relationships, do you find yourself thinking about relationships a lot, or are you more somebody who really invests a lot of your mind into chemistry, your work, and things that you're putting your hands to?
It's a good question. I I don't think that I think about my relationships more than investing in like the things I'm putting my hands to. I think if it is like what's in front of me, then that's where my focus is. If that makes sense. It's not
Hmm.
like I don't I don't think about my relationships like just throughout the day. I guess like, oh, like it's not, if it's something that is the topic at the present, then I think it would have my focus or my attention, if that makes
Yeah, yeah. Do you find that you like to be very much in charge of your spaces?
sense.
And
I think
is
I've
that,
I've heard this.
have you?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Ah, yes. I would say yes. I think for me, it's like my space is like how I want it to flow, how I would like to see things. And I can get pretty like adamant about certain things, especially if I'm like, no, that's not gonna work. I'm trying to tell you, like, this is how it is. And then also I can find myself being like very stubborn. Like, my husband will tell me like sometimes like with my mom, I'm like taking care of my mom. She has like early set on Alzheimer's with dementia. So
Yeah.
she's kind of forgetful. So and he was like, sometimes he's like, you should tell Ben on getting your mama to do something like right now in this time. And then he was like, you could just wait. If she says no, just wait and come back later. And I was like, but she needs to do it. She needs to do it. And he's like, you can wait. You can wait. So I'm like, okay. So it's just like releasing that type of control. Just like you can't like, although I know what needs to be done and I can see it, it's like you don't have control over this situation at this point. So it's just like you kind of have to wait and just
Yeah.
be willing to accept it when she's willing to accept it. So I'm learning a lot of patience and releasing control in this season of life.
It's excellent. When you walk into a room for a meeting or for a college class, are you aware of where you're going to sit?
Looking at it in hindsight, I do think where I sit is definitely, I guess, strategic, so to speak, kind of, sort of. Like,
Hmm.
I just left a cohort in North Carolina. It was basically a training session for the PMP exam. And I didn't want to sit in the back, but I also didn't want to be on the front row. So it was just kind of like, kind of in the middle, but also because I'm short, I don't want to be blocked by somebody taller. So just my visibility um, to where I won't be easily distracted or anything. So yeah, I do take in like where I'm going to sit. I walk in the room, I scan it, and I'm like, okay. And then I guess it also depends on who's already sitting in certain seats. Like I could just like kind of get by. It's like, I don't want to sit there, maybe here, just those type of things, kind of just filling it out. I guess it could be just like inklings or like my body's like, no, we're not gonna sit there.
You'd brought up with environmental management and air compliance. You placed some value on the work that didn't have to do with just the work. It also had to do with the people who would be affected outside of a industrial area.
Yeah.
So, are you really aware of the justice dynamics of how chemicals affect surrounding areas?
So, one of the classes I took for my master's was environmental justice.
Yeah.
And it just highlighted basically environmental hazards or effects to different communities. I was aware of it prior to then, but I wasn't where I was working. The role I was working in then didn't have a direct relation as my current role does. So I guess it was just kind of like a out of mind, out of sight thing. Like I didn't realize like the in depth of it, but through the course, I was just privy to a lot of information, a lot of cases, a lot of situations where those people that were affected were in like lower poverty communities, as well
Mm-hmm.
as Black and Brown people, or people that aren't able, that are don't have representation at the board office when they're deciding where to put the energy facilities or these industrial facilities. So it's just like, oh wow, like all of this is going on, but you don't hear a lot about it. So it was
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like, okay, here I am as an educated individual, as well as an African American woman that can speak to different things that have impacted my family that very well could have resulted not particularly with I guess like energy places, but like mining. Mining is big here in Alabama. So that very well could have impacted my family. So it's just like being able to be in this space now and have a seat at the table and can bring light to different things that, okay, well, this emission comes from here, but if you have these, I guess, controls in place to help mitigate these emissions, why not do it? Or why does it have to be built in so much close proximity to these communities to where these people are already struggling or don't have the access to the type of resources as other communities may have. So I guess it just sparked it, just that realization that it came. I was like, oh wow, like this is really going on, or not so much as this going on, just this is really bigger than what I assumed it to be. But now that I'm aware of how big it is, like what can I do to help move it forward in my current role? So I
Yeah.
think definitely for sure now that I'm more aware of what does it look like on a grand scale.
On that front, do you find that you will commonly speak up for folks who look like they may be being marginalized? Will you find that you'll step into spaces where you see other people um, who aren't being treated well?
Sometimes I feel like it kind of depends on like one, I don't want to overstep because I might not know the dynamics what I'm coming into, but two, also like after seeing it, I may try to have a conversation with that person that was experiencing it just to see what are their thoughts on it. Because I also feel like sometimes some people may not want you to step in, may not want you to do anything, may not even want it to be a bothersome. So I guess it's more so of like I check in with that person, and if it's a problem to you and you don't like it, but you feel like you may not say nothing, then if I feel like it's a problem, I will speak up, but in a way to not out you as like, oh, well, this person having an issue with it. So whether it'll make things hard for that person, I guess if that makes sense. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like, I guess, strategically finding a way to bring it up to where it's not identifying that person, but getting the need addressed in that moment.
Yeah, it's perfect. That's a great answer. Um, do you find that you have a lot of friends, or do you find that you are more comfortable with kind of a close circle of friends who you're just more tight with.
Yes, close circle. It is the quality, not the quantity. Like
Yeah.
I I think even with the graduating, I had like a handful of friends that I invited. So it's just like these people are my people.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a song, they were like, no new friends. So I don't need no new friends, but if they come, I'm okay with it. We can be acquaintances and stuff, but I just think when people use the word friend so loosely these days, and it's just like, how do you define friend, or what do you see it as?
When you think about Porter, what are some of your biggest ambitions as a mom? Like, what would you like to see? Where are some of the values that you have for him?
Ooh, my ambition and what I would like to see for Porter is just for him to take up space and be this amazing kid that I know he can be. Like, he's just so smart, but sometimes he could just be like, I feel like he gets overexcited and just wants to just do all the things, and everybody may not wants to do that. So just wanting him to just take up space and know that he can do whatever he wants to do. Like, nothing is too short of it. I think like he loves dinosaurs, he loves cars. So anything wrapped around that, I'm like, hey, you could be a paleontologist if you want to be. Like, that is perfectly fine. Like, nothing is too short of anything for him. So I think I just want him to just be the best version he can be and know that I'm doing whatever I can do on this end to make sure that everything he needs, he is provided with.
Bang. It's excellent.
Think
Can you talk a little bit about taking up space and what kind of goes through your mind and heart there?
I feel like taking up space is important. Um, I think when I had my son, I went through a period of postpartum, and in that time, I didn't like myself. I didn't like how I looked. It was just all new, and in that I was looking to develop a women's group, and it's called like the Womb, and like WOM, but like room, but womb.
Sure.
And just honoring that, just creating a space to where women can be themselves, come authentically, share what's going on, and be able to just have people that are supporting them, or have people that may have already went through that be able to talk about their experiences and give some insight to help encourage them to move over or inspire them to go for their dreams or whatever. So I think for me, like I guess my heart gets full when people are talking about taking a space, because I feel like everyone is worthy, everyone is capable, and don't let nobody diminish your light or make you feel like you're insignificant. Because I think at that time, I just felt like I had lost myself, and then just having family and friends to recognize it and just rally behind me was just like, no, you're going to continue to take a space and you're going to continue to talk about these things, because I don't think a lot of women, like, they talk about the joys of motherhood. They talk about how good it is. They can't wait to be there, how much they love it, or they couldn't wait to be a mom. And I experienced all those things, but it's also a very challenging side to being a mom. And it's just like people don't speak about those too often. And creating space and taking up space where I can authentically speak about my experiences as being a mom and how that translated into my life outside of being a mom. Well, you are always a mom, you're always on the clock, but experiences outside of just parenting has truly helped me in, I guess, just articulating my voice and just creating spaces for people to take up space and say, hey, it's okay if you feel like this. It's okay if you're not sure what to do in these moments. I think it's super important.
Bang. That's perfect. Are you motivated? by awards at all? Do you like it when people acknowledge publicly your accomplishments and the things that you do real well?
I do like it. I guess I don't necessarily um would ask for it, I guess if that makes sense.
Hmm.
So like I know recently, I try to match stuff, I guess, with a story. I guess for me it just helps better paint the picture. But I know recently, like I said, I finished my master's and my boss, he nominated me for an excellence award for
Hmm.
completing my master's, for moving forward my education and the principles and the values that the company hold. And I was selected, and it was just the email just highlighting, like, I didn't even know he had nominated me. I'm not gonna say I didn't think that he didn't care that I finished, but I just feel like he knew I finished and he told me congratulations, and I felt like that was just it. But just seeing the email, seeing his thoughts, and just the other people responding to the email, it was good to see that recognition. Like, I liked it. And I was like, oh, okay, like, you are adding value in these spaces. People do see what are you doing, and they see how hard you're working, and don't think people aren't paying attention or watching what you're doing. So I do like it. I don't necessarily be like, hey, look at this thing I did. I think it matters most to me when people that are impactful in my life see it and recognize it and say something to me. It means more to me than somebody, I guess, I guess a stranger or something. Recognizing it's just, I guess it's just more impactful from people that are in my circle.
Do you find that you're really defensive of some of the women who are in your womb group?
No, not necessarily. I don't think so.
Good.
But I guess I could be defensive, like in certain situations, or if I feel like no, you're not hearing me, I can be
Hmm.
very defensive on that end. But just out the gate, no.
Sorry, do you feel like you're not heard sometimes?
Yes.
Would you talk about that?
Yes. So like when I do feel like I'm not being heard, or it's just like people are just disregarding blatantly what I'm saying,
Huh.
it can be very frustrating. And it's just like to the point to where it's like, okay, no, now I gotta make you hear me, or I got to, I guess, step the ante up in regards
Hmm.
to it to be heard. And I guess that goes back into the adding value. It's just like, no, like, why aren't you taking what I'm saying for what it is, or holding it in the type of regard as I'm speaking about it? So yeah,
Yeah, that's well said. Do you find that you compare yourself with other people a lot?
I don't think so.
You don't seem like that sort of person, but
I was
I
just
wanted to
like,
check. I wanted to cross something off my list.
I was about to say, I feel like the best person I could be is myself because everybody else is taken. So hey,
That's a good mantra. It's a great mantra. Do you find that you're a very anxious person? Do you find that like fear kind of is always kind of underneath the surface for you?
yeah, I do feel like sometimes I can be a little anxious, like even like in preparation for today, I'm just kind of like, oh,
Hmm.
like just not
Right.
sure, like making sure like just everything is just in place. So yeah.
Hmm. Do you find that you talk about what might go wrong very often?
Mm, no, I don't think so. I I don't find myself as I try to look back. I don't think so.
You had mentioned that you're kind of the first person to get excited about going with others uh, when they're doing something fun. Are you commonly the person going with somebody who's the one who's the leader, or are you often the one who's trying to pull people to try and get them to do something?
Well, prior to getting married and having a child,
Hmm.
yes, I was the one pulling people, like, let's go on this trip. Let's do this. Let's go out. Let's have a good time. That was me. That was me. My friends used to say, like, the life of the party.
Hmm.
But post child, post getting married, I'm more of like a homebody. Like, oh, if they reach out to me, like we can go, but I do be like, hey, let's connect. But it has to be like early because I might go to sleep or I have to plan now. So it's like I need date, I need time, I need to know if it aligns with my schedule. So I guess it just looks completely different. But like younger Drea, yeah, the party is wherever I'm at. Let's go.
Perfect. That's perfect. Do you like speaking in calendars? Are you very aware of what you're gonna? Today's Sunday. Are you very aware of what you're probably gonna be doing next Tuesday or next Wednesday?
Oh gosh, no. I
Oh,
should be,
perfect.
but no.
This, this is not a fault. I don't know what I'm doing next Tuesday or Wednesday either. So we
Yeah,
can
I
start.
I wish I said I need to plan more, but I feel like I can't plan that far ahead. Like it's just too much. It probably send my anxiety through the roof.
Right. Tell me some stuff that like not that you would say about yourself, but that Darrell would say about you. What are some of the things that he would likely say are your strengths, or the things that he loves most in you?
Um, he would say I am determined, loving, caring, hardworking, very supportive, very nurturing, can be stubborn, but that's a good thing sometimes to have pushback, he says. He would say that I'm just diligent. He says that I love my family and go to bat for them as well as my friends. He would also say that he I love sports, so I'm very competitive. So we kind of are in a little competition with golf as well. Like he was already playing
Mm-hmm.
golf, so now I picked it up. So it just kind of like, okay, I need to work on this. I need to get good at this. I mean, I look good playing golf, but I haven't mastered the skill set to beat him at golf yet. But I'm working on it. But he would just say energetic, fun, spiritual. Yeah. All of those good things.
That's a great list. Do do you find that you focus a lot on the needs of other people?
Yeah, I
Can you
can
talk
see
about
that.
that?
And I guess it's just not, I wouldn't say just like the needs of people, other people like in the world, but like the needs of like my family.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and maybe like my friends, if like they reach out, like my sister, for instance, she is not really a vocal person, but I can kind of like sense like if something's going on, I'm just like, what's up? And then so I'll reach out, kind of talk with her, and then she might say something. She's like, but I just didn't want to be a bother. And I was like, well, it's fine. I feel like you are being a bother because you're not saying that thing and you're in need. But also, I guess, like, and focusing on those needs, like, also sometimes I'm just like, you don't have the capacity for that. So it's just like, if they not speaking up about it, then you're just gonna have to let it be. That's kind of how I have been now, in my life, just realizing like you can't pile your plate yay high and then expect everything to get 100% when your battery life is like blinking. Girl, take a nap, like rest. So it's just like putting myself first.
Do you find that difficult to do?
Sometimes I would say yes, like I put it on the back burner, but it's just like, okay, I would do this for me once Porter is set, once Jarrell is set, once my mom is set. I think the biggest thing that has been getting in the way of, I guess, my self care or putting myself first has been becoming a caregiver. Like, it doesn't come with a manual when a parent moves in and they've been on their own their entire life, and it's like, how are you gonna try to tell me what to do? So just navigating that space. It hasn't been easy to prioritize that, but I've gotten better to just be like, okay, no, I'm going to take this time for myself and it's going to be okay. Everybody else can wait. So do not disturb has been my friend. But if they call twice, it'll let them through. But starting out is just like creating these barriers for sure.
Perfect. You talked about being able to sense what's going on with other people. Is that real common for you to read other people's emotions pretty clearly and cleanly?
Not always cleanly, but
Yeah.
I kind of, I think it's fairly good. My friends say it can be written on my face, like how I'm feeling or what's going on, but also like even with them, I think more so with people that I am close with, I can kind of just be like, something not right. Like she's just not feeling right. Or if like this person keeps coming up in my mind, it's like something is going on. Let me reach out. Let me see, like, hey, how are you? You know, that type of thing. So I think I'm pretty good at it. It's not always clear, clean. Sometimes it can be a little off base, but nonetheless, the fact the inkling does be spot on as far as something is going on. Not the
Yeah.
particulars may not be accurate though.
If if you end up helping others, if you're nurturing in some of your relationships, do you expect that the person that you are caring for is going to love you in return, is going to reciprocate the care that you give to them?
No, I mean they already love me, but I don't see it as like me doing for them is like my way of getting love from them. I think I'm doing it just because it's on my heart and I have the capabilities to do it. So I will do it type of thing, not so much as to receive love from them. I don't see it that way.
Yeah. Do you see yourself as a strong person?
Yes, I do.
Is that something that you aspire to be a strong person?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. I might. If I do, I don't want to be.
Do you are you aware on the flip side of that, are you very aware of the places that you might be vulnerable in?
Yeah, I think so.
Um is it the case that when you are problem solving in your family or with friends that you're really comfortable with, do you find that you solve your problems very emotionally and assertively?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, that's actually it's kind of coming out sideways. Is it important when things break that you know that other people are on your team, like that they're going to have your back? Is that like a really high value for you?
One thing's great. It's not the first thing that comes up,
Mm-hmm.
but like when things break, it's important for me to figure out how to fix it or how to mend whatever is broken, like
Mm-hmm.
put it back together. I think that is my first thought. Like, okay, what can I do in this moment? I think once I've exhausted myself, I do like, okay, I need somebody to help me with this. Like, I need somebody on my side, on my corner type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So for sure.
Do you find that you exhaust yourself trying to fix things? Is that would that be a common way to that you see yourself?
I look at, I guess, myself first is like, okay, well, what can you do before adding in other people or troubling other people? I guess it's more so it's like, I guess I'm like a private type of person, like, and stuff like, okay, I need to handle this. I need to fix it. Like, there's no need to like involve other people. But then sometimes it could be too much for me. Then I was like, I have to say something.
Yeah. Do you find that you ever get very self critical?
Yeah, a
Would
lot.
would a lot?
Yeah.
Would you talk about that?
Yeah, I think like for me, being a first time mom, just I can be critical of myself, like in that parenting space. Like, am I doing this right? Am I going about this the right way? Did I do this wrong? Like, just critical of how I do stuff, or also like critical of like the choices that I may make. Like, oh, why you do that? Like, you know better than that, or you just allowing your emotions to get the best of you in this moment. Why you responded in that way, type of thing. So I and I guess it's just like people I know, like those people that are close to me hold me. I ain't gonna say a pedestal, but like in a high regard. It's just my sister say, "Oh, you're like the model child." It's like you can't do no wrong. And I'm like, "Girl, yes I can," but outside of that, I just don't want to be a disappointment to them, or I don't want to let them down. It's like I think high of myself, so it's just like if I'm letting myself down, I can only imagine what they're seeing, but in actuality, it's not like that at all. I feel like I'm my worst critic. It's just like, girl, give yourself a break. My husband's like, it is okay. It is okay.
Does do you hear that from your husband? Not all the time, but commonly
Like,
that he's saying you're being too hard on yourself.
yeah.
Some of this stuff, if you're, did I do this wrong? Am I doing this the right way? Will you talk through that then to yourself and to others? Will you process that
Um,
verbally?
Not verbally. I just I kind of keep it close to my chest, like type of
Mm-hmm.
thing. Like I want, and I guess that goes in being like put together when I come to other people. It's just like I'm talking. Like I might talk about it like out loud, but I'm talking like out loud, like to myself, like just trying to navigate that space with myself, like getting a grasp or an understanding of what's going on, what did you do, like processing with myself first. And then once I come to a conclusion with myself, and it's like, okay, I might talk with someone and just get a feel of not so much as like, hey, what to do. Just say, hey, I got this situation, just talking about it. And then they might add input. And I'm like, okay, that aligns with what I was thinking. But I'm not saying that
Mm-hmm.
to them. It's just almost like it's confirmation without you knowing what I already said. It's kind of like, I don't want your confirmation to be based off or be in, I guess, swayed it based off of what I said, but I want to hear what you're saying on your own. Because sometimes I can overanalyze stuff, I can overthink stuff, I can be overcritical, and it's like, girl, it ain't even that. It's just it's a my bad and keep it moving type thing. Yeah, I've had a friend. She said you make mountains out of molehills sometimes. I said, oh my gosh, girl, don't I really? It's just like, girl, yes, just relax. And I was like, okay.
Perfect. That took a lot longer than I thought in terms of me just getting my head around all the things. So I appreciate you talking about yourself and experiences
No
for a bit.
problem.
To breach Enneagram, we're doing mistyping. Tell me some stuff that you know about the Enneagram. Why you jumped in and wanted to do this podcast, and maybe do you have some numbers in mind at all? I'm really curious where you what you've already done.
Okay, so I started the Enneagram probably a while back. I was in a church group and we kind of just took a test and it gave us some numbers. And when that little group session was over with, I didn't pick it back up. I was just like, oh, okay. I think then my numbers off of that test, they give you the top three.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I think it said 3, 7, and 8 or somewhere like
Okay.
that. So about maybe 3 years ago, I was online and I think I watched a podcast. And on the podcast, it was I can't remember her name was Dio. She does the Black Enneagram, and she was just talking about how it correlate with being Black or a person of color and what they may look like, as it may look different. But I was like, oh, I remember this, and I was like, let me see. And so I think one year she was actually on the Ennea Summit. So I've attended the Ennea Summit like in the past 3 years, and I picked it up one wanting to know more about myself and how I can be the best version of myself, or also learning like why I do the things that I do. But in addition to that, I also love the spiritual aspect of it. What's holding me back in my relationship with God, or how am I trying to do one thing when another thing might work best in connecting with God and strengthening that relationship. So I've been doing that. And so through the last Ennea Summit, excuse me, they were talking about subtypes. And I ended up taking one of the speakers on there, guest speaker. He had a test on his site, the WEPS, the WEPSS, I think that's right.
Mhm.
And my top three was 1, 5, and I think 8 was it. And 1, I was a unhealthy one. And then
It had levels of health on there, huh?
yeah, what it was saying, I guess you're acting what you're pulling out, I guess the negative aspect, well, not negative, but like unhealthy versions, or when you're, I guess, stressed or some types. Like it was identified in that way because the arrow would show green, I guess, if you're pulling in a healthy relationship or aspect of
Sure.
the tools from that number. So it was just really interesting. And I was just like, okay. But if I pull from the 5, it was pretty much like in a good space. I was like, oh, I like that. You know, of course, somebody want to be like, oh, I'm just not healthy, but also just seeing what that may look like when unhealthy or in stress. And I think I try to think about like how I am now versus how I used to be. Cause like, were you
Hmm.
stressed then, or were you more stressed now than you were then? So just trying to understand life. But yeah, I don't know. So I guess when first like talking to you, how I was younger, I probably would have thought I was a 7, like just based off of behavior, just enjoying life. But also that could have been like my growth number. I could have just had no cares in life. I could have just been living out of that, or I could have just been in stress and also in the high side of 7. So it's just like I don't know. It was just all consuming. So I felt like I could see myself in all the types when they say that they'd be like, usually you're a 6 or maybe a 9. I was like, yeah, but I don't avoid conflict, but I also don't seek it out either. So it's just a lot of, and I was like, oh, maybe you should just talk to someone that knows better than you, so you can not spend time doing stuff that you just uncertain about.
Perfect. Of all things, as we started talking, I was really trying to find an anchor in 3, 7, or 8. That's where I kind of started because you're very outgoing, but in a very warm, confident way. So that's where I started. And I just in the some of the things, the buzzwords I was looking for just weren't hitting that. The fact that you had mentioned, I'll go through kind of my thinking, and then I would love your thoughts. I'll read some stuff in a second, but the idea that you saw yourself as fun, ready to do things, and when you were younger, but that there's like obviously a real transition when you have a child, and that's kind of shifted. I think that matters, and I think you're right to say when I was younger, a lot of those 7 attributes were part of my personality. When you
Right.
read sevenness, um, being present, being a good listener. Present is a big word. Elevating authenticity is a value that's really important to talk about. The fact that you have gotten into chemistry and math shows one element of yourself, but you'll notice that I was trying to kind of put my thumb on how you're using that. And I just think it's very interesting that I think your longest answer that we had was based on the justice issues surrounding how companies can abuse their power, especially as it affects people of color in America, and that would be a natural place where your aptitudes and passions for this discipline overlap with some other stuff that you care about. I'll come back to making mountains out of molehills on that front later, but I think that those are very, very important and worth thinking about. I tried to ask a handful of future oriented questions, and the idea that you need plans and aren't much of a future thinker, that's going to be a big thing to talk about. The fact that I think you described yourself as stubborn, but said that your husband would also see you as stubborn. But that can be balanced by, like, stubborn comes across as kind of like, that sounds like a negative, but you can spin that positive and
Oh yeah.
as you did and say, no, I'm determined and I'm hardworking
Right.
and I love my family and I'm diligent. I
Right.
mean, that also can, somebody might say this person's stubborn, but there's also some real qualities that are positive there. The fact that you're starting a group for a certain kind of woman, I may want to talk more about that if we don't go down the right, if we don't land somewhere. But I think that's very interesting. And you had stated that some of the values you're bringing to the table there is of them being themselves and being authentic. And those are also some big buzzwords for me. Everyone's worthy and capable. That is going to matter to a bunch of different numbers for different reasons. I type, you may have heard this already, I type everybody as a one. And so I didn't ask one questions intentionally this time because I didn't want to go down that path. But I think but as I talk through all these things, that's where I would go. I don't see a big second place here. So I would start with one and just say, are here, does any of this hit you? Because so much of your last answer, like when we finally got to it, in terms of the conversation in your own mind with yourself, did I do this right? Did I do this wrong? Saying that you don't want your emotions to get in the way, that you saw yourself or that others saw you as the model child, that you're your own biggest critic. These are all huge buzzwords for ones. Making mountains out of molehills, ones do that
Oh
and do
wow.
it really well. And the idea that you're overly self-critical, is all of this would point in that direction. I don't have, we can talk about other numbers that might be on the list, but I think that one would make a lot of sense of you being very adventurous and fun, especially as a young person, especially if you felt really comfortable growing up. Like if you just found that you were if you felt more comfortable than not, a lot of that secure, self-confident side looks a whole lot like sevens and ones. But when you spoke about the places that you were creating space for women to to repair and get better, you value authenticity. And that shows that, as opposed to you saying you're an unhealthy one, that actually shows that you're a very healthy one if
Oh,
you're a one, because you're moving into some high side four space and elevating everybody's worth. You're seeing them and wanting them to be their authentic self. Those are reparative ways that ones can be in the world. I could keep going, but those are the things that I see here. Do you have any questions before I ask you a bunch of other questions?
no, I don't think I have any questions. I will say, all of that does resonate, especially when you talk about being like a seven as a child. I lost my dad when I was 8.
Okay.
And I think since then, I think like the joy and the fun, it just looked different after losing him. And I think I became second person up under my mom, like just helping out, just being that responsible person. Like, and I think that it's like it just fell into that role. So they very easily could be like me going into that dutiful part or the responsible part of being a one. So I can see that.
Yep.
I can see that.
As you're speaking there, I did hear a lot of two language, but some of the questions I had for you on two in terms of do you experience comparison? Are you doing things in order to get? Didn't it
Yeah.
didn't get the kind of reaction that I wanted there if you were a two, but that would make sense if you're just kind of some of the ways that you're describing your rhythms of your father's passing and the role that you took. Are you the oldest?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
That would make a lot of sense. So um, you may know this. I'm also a one. It's my family broke apart when I was real young, and I was raised by a single mom for the
Okay.
most part until my high school years as well. And so know those rhythms and know
Yeah.
those rhythms of kind of, especially because my brother was 6 years younger
Oh
than me.
wow.
So
Yeah. My sister, she's
um,
4.5 years younger than me. So it's just like close knit, like almost a protector over type thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
bang. Well, in our book, and dear listener, the appendices are not in the Kindle version. I do apologize. We couldn't make them work, and that's why it's $10 less. But the in the book, in the appendices, there's a section that says themes, and I'm just going to read some of these, and this would be more about confirmation than anything. Like, are these things that resonate with you
Okay.
deeply? And perhaps you could speak to them. So, um, the one thing you had mentioned we didn't talk much about was that you really valued your spiritual life, and it's very often the case that ones will come across or even see themselves as having a lot of internal standards, a moral compass, and a real strong pull for being disciplined and good. Does that sort of idea, does that resonate with you?
I guess being good, the more compass, just I guess honing in on that relationship,
Yeah.
having that connection.
Boom. A lot of ones can have an underlying feeling of anger. It doesn't always come out towards others as like anger. It can come out as frustration, but a lot of times their anger is more inward in nature. And sometimes when ones get very sad, it can kind of mask as anger. Does that connect with you?
Yes, I think in some situations where it's like I'm so angry or I'm so upset, I can find myself crying, and it's not crying because I am like I'm crying because I can't do anything else about it. So it's just like it's very frustrating.
Do you find that ones often in order to connect with others, they will pull other people into doing things, but it isn't just let's imagine what we could do. It's often very tangible. We need to go and do this. We need to change. It can be as big as we need to go change the world together, or it may be as small as, we need to go and help this person. Do you find that's a common way that you connect with others is trying to pull them into the thing that you're really passionate about?
Yes, I can definitely see that. I think before I got married, I was always saying that I would love for me and my spouse to take on the world together. Like we need to do this. Like how can we be better together? Type of thing. So yeah, absolutely. It's like boots on the ground. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. It's excellent. Um, I suppose the last one that I would want to say, and it kind of felt like your wheelhouse, is that Ones often think that they need to earn the things that they care about most by being good enough, by studying hard enough, by doing the work. If you just do the things, then you'll merit whatever it is you want. Do you feel like that's kind of your wheelhouse as well?
So I kind of not sure about that because I don't know if it's just like just to be good, but it's almost like I want to be the best, but be like, so let's say like the wife, when you're talking about being a
Mm-hmm.
wife, I don't want to just be
Mm-hmm.
like the good wife. I want to be like the best wife. So Jarrell, I want to be, I
Mm-hmm.
guess not necessarily a good wife, but yes, it's like I guess I need to earn that. I need to know when I cook this meal that you enjoyed it. If it was too salty, you need to let me know, like all of these things. Like, so I can see that as an earning type of thing because I think the merit in that doesn't come like, I feel like I'm a good wife, but if the person that I value, if he doesn't feel like that,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm not succeeding. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Because how he feels about it matters to me. So yeah, I can definitely see the irony in that. Oh wow. I didn't think.
No, that's well said. And that answer alone would move me far away from threes, sevens, and eights, because that is a very, I'm responding to the person in front of me. I'm reading the other person in front of me. This is something that is much more the way that ones, twos, and sixes work in the world.
Mhm.
But the target being that you want to be the best, and specifically that you were using better language than I was, the idea that you're going to find a lot of satisfaction and connection through how you're improving yourself, how you're improving your marriage, how you're improving your family. Those would all be just ways that ones feel comfortable in the world and self-assess and say, like, am I happy? Am I feeling good in my body and in my community? That's going to get answered by execution, by
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
And that's going to be very, very common. So
Uh-huh.
as it stands, I would feel real comfortable putting on the one glasses when you come to
Mm.
Enneagram and just saying, does this make sense of my experience?
Yeah.
um, does this help me? It's Enneagram is useless if it doesn't actually help you, if it doesn't actually bring something up for you that allows you to see yourself better, allows you to speak about yourself to others better, or challenges you. So
Yeah.
that's what I would do. I think
Okay.
that's your next step. It sounds like you've done a lot of work. Like you've already gone to 3 Ennea summits, and you're listening to
Yeah.
some podcasts and the rest.
Look, already
That
trying to
would be the next
improve.
step for me. Right there it is. And I would love to hear back from you if you would, as I hope we get a chance to connect in the future. But
Yeah.
if you would let me know things that you're learning and the rest, I would be real interested to hear if that works for you. It may be the case that I'm giving you the wrong suggestion, but everything that I see would give me good reason to go down that road. So,
Okay. I can
to,
I can
yeah.
definitely let you know in the future.
Perfect. Do you have any questions for me on ones, or anything that might just be, I don't know, does that bring up anything question wise?
Um, yes, I do have one question. I guess in a couple of you all's podcasts, I know y'all mentioned about like ones, twos, and sixes are like heavy verbal processes. So
Mm-hmm.
like I
Mm-hmm.
guess in my case, it might just be with my background in like chemistry and analytical, not being a heavy verbal processor. Like
Mm-hmm.
is that like a must have or how does that look? And then I got a second question as far as like the inner critic. Like I don't necessarily like hear the inner critic a lot. I don't know if that is it, does it just mean I'm just not as aware of it or if
Yeah.
I'm blocking it out a lot more, if you could speak to that.
I noticed your answer. I did ask about verbal processing, and so what what I heard there, one, it's verbal processing is behavior, and so it's important for me to remind myself, and I suppose for everybody else to remind themselves, that the Enneagram is not about behavior. It's about motive.
Motivation. Yeah.
And so it just so happens that some folks who are ones, twos, and sixes have a harder time getting around their thoughts sometimes. And when they do, that means that they start to verbally process, because once the words are out there, then they can take them back in through their center. So when I verbally process, I'll sometimes my verbal processing is just writing a lot of stuff down. I'm writing it down, but I'm intuiting the words. I'm asking, I'm really assessing, does this feel right?
Okay.
That happens a lot for me, is getting the words down, looking at them, and then does this feel right? I heard that at one point in our conversation that it felt like you kind of had more of that intuitive
Yeah.
side.
Yeah. I can see that.
That's what verbal processing would be about.
Okay.
So
That makes sense.
but that may not be a helpful way to do things for you, which is fine. On the inner critic side, I also agree. Like I don't hear a voice. I've been trying to put my get some language for this, and when it happens, I've been trying to almost write down what am I experiencing. What it feels like for me when I get really self-critical is I'll have a memory of something that I did that I so wish I could have done differently.
Me
And I
too.
get like a surge of energy.
Yeah.
And that feels like I can't do anything about this, but then it kind of gets into my head a little bit, and it gets into my emotions. And that's what inner criticism feels like
Okay.
for me.
Okay.
So, but you feel that?
Yes. Yes. It's definitely like wrapping my head around this decision that you made and like not feeling good about it. Like
Yeah.
just yeah, for sure. Okay.
So I assume it's the case that some people do kind of almost internalize a voice, or I do know what it's like to monologue with, or to like dialogue with myself about those things. So like I'll feel the self-condemnation, and then I'll kind of talk through it with myself, or I'll have like an imaginary conversation, as it were, with people who I'm upset with. Sometimes that can be a thing. So but inner criticism feels like I get pushed in a pool.
Yeah. For sure.
So yeah.
Hey.
Last questions, last thoughts before I let you go.
I just want to say thank you for this opportunity and your time. I've enjoyed it.
Good.
I don't talk about myself much. I guess it might just be different scenarios, of course, like introducing people, but just thank you. I've enjoyed this, and I'm excited to dive in the lenses of an Enneagram 1.
Excellent. It was a delight meeting you. I really do hope that we get to connect in the future and do. Obviously, you found us through our podcast or through our website, so do feel free to kick me any questions that you have.
I will.
But excellent. So, well, much love to Porter.
Thanks.
Much love to Jarrell and to your mom.
Thank you so
we'll
much.
catch you in the future.
All right.